By this time, or if you've gotten to this video, you needed to have installed everything, downloaded, installed, followed the videos, because now we got to make sure it works. So in your exercise number one, and almost all the videos that I give you for installation, depending on your IDE, all of them had some type of window that popped up. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but I know a couple of them have them just open up a blank window, and that's all I want for exercise number one. That's all I really want, is just to get the darn thing to open up a window for you without causing any havoc, and you've gotten through all the errors and stuff like that. That's all I want for exercise number one, okay? If you have a problem even getting to here, you've got to talk to us so we can help you. Most likely the best idea would be to go through us using some type of meeting manager so we can see the video, we can see the code and all that stuff. So email is going to really suck for this one. So if you have a problem even getting to exercise number one, you're obviously not going to do number two, but you got to let us know. Work on it for a good half an hour. If you still see some errors, you've done some Google searches and still nothing, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you, but you got to let us know. And it's really imperative that you do get it done. Let's put it that way. In number two, you're going to copy and paste some code below instead of what might eventually come up. You're going to copy and paste that into your code to create the window that we have here in exercise 2. Now, notice, by the way, in the code, there could be a couple of minor changes, like maybe the package isn't called application, maybe the class is not called Hello World. Matter of fact, I think most of the time it actually isn't. But anyway, so we have to be very careful about, when you copy and paste that code, make sure you might have to make some minor changes. But the rest of the code's good. So that's it. So there's only two spots that could be different. Once you get that, I want you to go ahead and answer the questions that we have right here, 1 through 3 here, and I will show you some, solutions to that, and we'll talk about that in our next part of this video. So go ahead and get to work on that. Please hit pause. It's going to take you a while. This is no joke, it's just the way it is. I will create 2 projects for the 2 different exercises that I have for you. Don't try to shove it all into one. That's a fatal mistake that I've made, so please don't make that mistake like I did. So anyway, go ahead and pause this. We'll get back to this here in a little bit, but please make sure you have something running. I cannot tell you how important it is. If you don't, or if you can't get it running, fine, let us know like I said before. All right, so get to work and we'll be back in a little bit. So let's go over answer number 1, because frankly, if you can't get answer number 1, you're not going to be able to get number 2. So again, I am running this on Eclipse. It's going to look similar to whatever IDE that you have, but there's going to be a couple things you had to be careful about, so I'm going to go back over that as I go over number 1 here. But interesting enough, here's what the window should look like when I'm running it on a Windows machine. So I'll explain why here in a second. So it's just, you're just basically creating a window that has size by 400 by 400. I guess that's square, but that's about it. That's all you're going to see in number 1 is just have a window that pops up. Now, I did have a student that did this on a Mac, and when they ran it, the Mac didn't like the window. It ran the window, and the window was there, but it had to be at the you had to go to the very top and view it or something like that. So I'm not a Mac guy, so bear with me here. So Mac people, heads up when we get to this. If you see it run and you don't see any errors pop up, but you can't find a window, that might be why. So just a heads up when it comes to that. But everybody else, with a normal machine and less costly, it should show up with the window like this. Now, again, a couple of really interesting points about this. In Eclipse, and most likely in your IDE, there's 2 things we had to worry about. So this is the current project that I'm in, is Java FX Intro. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go down to Build Path, Configure Build Path, and then you'll see that Java FX is in there. Now, be careful. in Eclipse, there was another one, a Java FX SDK, that I had to end up removing. But this is the only two things I should see, and they reflect right here, well, right there. So anyway, so that's one part. The other part is the main. So I'm going to right-click on that. I'm going to go down to Run As. I'm going to do that Run Configuration, and make sure that you have put in your arguments. Make sure you selected the right one, by the way. That always makes a difference. And then arguments, and make sure that your path is set for that. That's really the only two settings that had to be made for every time I create a project in using Java FX. So for number 2, I got to do the exact same thing as I just did here, for that one. The other part is that, and I've shown that in the notes, is that we had to delete the module info.java, and if the JDK, I just mentioned that, the Java FX SDK was in there, we had to remove that. But so notice, it can be just one thing that can really derail everything. So heads up on that, make sure you can get this to work, and then move on to number 2 from there. So here is part 2. And to be honest with you, all I did was I used the same project. I copied and pasted the code that's frankly been given on the next page down. I made one adjustment, and that was from the class name. I think it was called Hello World. I changed it to main to frankly fit with my main.java. And that was it. Copy, paste it, run, and voila. I didn't make any changes, settings, or whatever. So again, I didn't make any changes because we haven't gotten into Scene Builder. We're not really diving too deeply into the stage itself yet. We're just trying to get the damn thing to work, So that's the overall setup that we have for both of those. Please let us know if you're having issues getting this set up. Now, the bad part is there's a lot of different IDEs that are out there. So I'll be honest. I've had to Google some things that were online, just like you probably would have to too. So unless it's really Eclipse, and I can personally help you, but if it's something else, we're going to do a lot of Google stuff. But make sure you see us. Make sure you stop by during office hours or something like that so that we can help you with this. Because as you can tell, it's going to suck if we do this over email. So stop by, see us face-to-face, set up a meeting or something of that nature so we can get you ready to go. Because if you don't get this part done, we're in deep doo-doo for the rest of it. So let me know.